Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with BN and our community.
Good afternoon, evening, and morning. Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with Black non-believers and our community. My name is Edith Gray, aka Lilith, No God, No King, and I am your host for today's show. In the Cut is a production of Black Non-Believers, a 501c3 organization. We are headquartered in the Atlanta area where we connect with other Blacks and allies who are living free of religion and might otherwise be shunned by family and friends by providing a caring, friendly, and informative community. Instead of accepting dogma, we determine truth and morality through reason and evidence. The mission of Black Non-Believers is to provide secular fellowship. We're here to nurture and support non-believers in coming out, open identification. We encourage pride in non-religious identities. We educate the public on the history and the current state of non-belief in the Black community. And we organize events and charitable causes. You can find us at BlackNonbelievers.org. Black Non-Believers welcomes all, regardless of your age, gender identity, sexual identity, national origin, or racial identity. However, our content and our work is always going to prioritize Black non-religious voices. At this point in time, I would love to welcome to the show the president and founder of Black Non-Believers, Mandisa Thomas. Hello, how are you? Happy Earth Day.
Hello, Edith. Today is Earth Day? Okay, cool. That's right, April 20th. Happy Earth Day to you as well. And happy Earth Day to all of our live viewers and those of you who will be tuning in to the replay. It is good to see you, Edith.
Nice to see you.
Yes, and I'm really excited about our guest today. And before we bring her on, I just wanted to remind people to say, and thank you all for tuning in to the premiere of the Black Christians versus Black Atheists episode of Middle Ground, which debuted on Easter Sunday. Currently, that episode is at 676,000 views. It is a channel. Jubilee Media does receive, they have 8.6 million subscribers. So they really do get a high number of views on and clicks on their videos. And if you've been watching the comments at all, there's been quite a few. There's been quite a bit of discourse in between, those who have watched and those who, and you might have seen clips on Instagram and TikTok as well. It was a very, very interesting dialogue to be a part of. And again, it's also very interesting to see the discourse in the chats across social media and on the clip itself. So I know you watched it, Edith. I don't know if we talked about our thoughts on it during the last show, but what were some of your thoughts about the episode?
Well, apart from the fact that I think you did a great job representing Black non-believers, I think that that there is a lot more to scratch under the surface between Black non-believers and Black Christians. The word middle ground does come to mind because I could see that there was a lot of sincerity on both sides of this issue. And I would just love to see a way that we could move forward as Black people, holding on maybe to something that kind of speaks to our culture, but understanding the historical grounds under which it got that way. And I think that's, for me, the thing that that still leaves a lot of doubt and questions as far as why are we still holding on to something like this. you know. But yeah, the
Absolutely.
guests were very interesting for sure. And yeah, I've watched it 2 times so far. Yeah.
I keep clicking on it just to see the view count go up, which it has. And of course, there are, even in a with a conversation like this, right? There definitely needs to be more of them. And of course, the show was edited down to the time frame that it was, and there is a portion of it that is available on Jubilee's Patreon. And I know that there were so many things that we could have covered, particularly in that episode, but we definitely need like so much more time. And this is one of the reasons why it's so important, that kind of segueing into the what we wanted to cover before we bring on our wonderful special guest today, is why it is important to support organizations like Black Nonbelievers, as well as other Black non-religious content creators and the networks that we are developing. And as you know, BN has been in existence now for 13 years. And we definitely appreciate everyone who has supported us over the years, and people who are finding us. And just to
Yeah.
give a bit of background into our guest before we introduce her, this was a result of her reaching out to us on our website and learning a bit more about where she was coming from and what was appreciated about the work we do. And what we do as far as our outreach, our engagement, our speaking up, our representation, as well as the resources that we do provide. It does take support. It is work that we are doing here. I know for some people, it seems like it's easy to just get up on a stage or in front of a screen and start speaking, but it does take practice. It does take work. And it really does take courage for a lot of people, because this is an area that people are constantly exploring, and for some people it can be very sensitive and painful, and it's important for them to know that that we are here, that we exist, and that we are a very viable resource for those who need us. And in order for us to continue to grow, it really does take for support for our organization, whether you are volunteering and financially supporting. That is very, very important. And we have some really, really good things that are coming up that we will be announcing towards the end of the show. And I got to tell you, I was recently in Chicago, both for spring break, and I had the opportunity to meet some of the Chi-Town affiliate members. Shout out to Cynthia. If you're watching today, shout out to you. I know I'll talk to you at some point in the very near future. But someone asked, how can we grow our network to the point where it's something like the Atheist Community of Austin, who produces shows like the Atheist Experience, Talk Heathen, etc. And shout out to them for the work that they do, as well as the line with Matt Dillahunty and so on and so forth. But it takes support. They receive donations for their work as a nonprofit organization. And someone asked, well, what if you don't have money? And it's like, well, again, volunteering is important, but I also want to give a shout out to one particular member who has donated $1 a month to us for at least 5 years.
That's
So
wonderful.
$1 a month really helps with our ability to support this platform. Also, when we conduct our meetups, when we host our annual events, when we when we table at events,
Right.
when we sponsor things, when we have our scholarship that we co-sponsor, these things take even the smallest amount, because it is very, very important. It doesn't take much for you to donate to an organization like ours. And we don't, of course, we want to get to the point where we would love like 5-6 figure donations, right? But if it is in the hands of the people, which it is, and the people need and want to support it, it really doesn't take that much. And every bit counts. Every bit counts, because again, this is valuable information that we are providing and that folks are receiving. And we really, really pride ourselves on being able to amplify the representation and the voices of those of us who are out here, those of us who are up and coming, and the collaborative work that we are doing. So I cannot emphasize enough the importance, especially as we go into the spring and summer fundraising season, especially as we are getting ready to support and table at conferences and such. Your support for our work is very much needed and, as always, very much appreciated. So I will turn it back over to you, Edith, so that we can get the rest of the show started.
All right. So we're going to bring on our guest, our special guest. It is our pleasure to welcome Janis Todd Randall. Janis, who received her bachelor's and master's in sociology from Shaw University, is an executive MBA candidate at Howard University. She is also a veteran of the U.S. Army and is married to Derek Randall, a U.S. Marine veteran. Janis's career highlights include being a playwright, touring the play Back on the Block, a TV show host and producer of the Janis Todd Show, author and publisher, and much more. She is also presented at conferences, giving keynote addresses, and is a strong advocate for domestic violence awareness and support. Janis is the founder of the Our Janis Society and the creator of web serial The Elephant in the Room. Her philosophy is harmony in diversity, and her interests are advocating for diverse religious beliefs and choices, merging artificial intelligence with education for more innovative learning, and researching religious cults to understand brainwashing and human behaviors. Janis is dedicated to discovering new opportunities that broaden her influence and take a substantial impact. She is keen on partnerships that leverage artificial intelligence to help create a better understanding and empathetic society. Welcome to the show, Janis. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Great, Edith. It is absolutely a pleasure to be here, too. I'm excited about today's show.
That is an interesting bio. I have connections to the military as well. So we can talk offline about about where you've been and what places you were stationed. But what we ask all of our guests, we would like you to tell our viewers a little bit about your religious journey. Where did you begin? Were you always an atheist? Were you some other religion first? And just give us a little flavor there.
Okay, let me start out by saying that I kind of overstepped my boundaries here, because I had made a decision that I wasn't going to come back on any platforms until I finished out of my dental work that I have going on. And Medusa stepped into into my sphere and kind of changed that. So I thought to myself, I'm going to take this opportunity, because I've been waiting 9 years to take this opportunity to clarify my identity. So I'm bringing braces, whatever I need to bring to the table to get there, then I'm coming. So I just want to let you know, if you hear any slurs, that's what's going on here. But, that's not the biggest issue. Thank you guys for having me. I am just absolutely excited to be here. Some things just come at the right time and with the right people. And I feel like this is one of those times. And in order for me to share with you my Christian experience, I'm going to have to take you back to my grandmother. And let me put this out front too. I'm not sure what to title myself, because I believe there's a lot of gods. I believe Donald Trump is a god. I believe Oprah is a god. I believe people make their own gods. I believe this rock is a god for somebody. So I believe there's a god. There are gods, but I believe they are people make gods, and they give power to those gods. I Christianity is a man-made God. So I do believe in God. I don't believe that they have power over me. They have the power that I give them. So let me just clarify that. And I don't know exactly who I am, because I'm still coming out of a very traumatic situation. I mean, I think I got PTS behind this deconversion from Christianity. I'm just keeping it real. So my grandmother, I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm based out of the Carolinas right now. I got here via Fort Bragg, and now Fort Liberty, as some of you know. But back in Indianapolis, my grandmother, when I first met her as a child, she was very religious. I mean, to the extreme. They were all in a denomination known as the Apostolic denomination, and they had stringent rules, and especially stringent rules for women. Wonder who wrote that. But anyway, women could not wear makeup. They could not wear jewelry. They could not wear pants. They could wear dresses, but the dresses had criteria. The dresses had to be over your knees. The sleeves had to be over your elbows. To think about wearing a dress that was sleeveless, that is against the rules that we govern ourselves by. And to show cleavage, you show cleavage and you're automatically labeled as a Jezebel. So the dress was very stringent. There was no television in the home. They believed the television was something of the devil. They didn't believe in reading newspapers. It was just it was a very strict religious environment. However, my grandfather, he was a little bit different than my grandmother. Even though he did go to church, not as much as she did, but he did go to church. And every time I saw him, he had a newspaper under his arm. So I think my grandfather basically was kind of going along to kind of keep the peace in the home. I don't believe he believed like my grandmother did to that extreme. He was a little bit of a different animal than she was, and I didn't get to know him as well because every time that I was in the environment, he was at work. He was off to work, so I didn't really get to know him as well as I knew my grandmother. The stories that I've heard about my grandmother's past was that I believe she had like a 3rd grade education. And the only the only book that she ever learned how to read was the Bible. And I say that with a sad heart. I say that with a sad heart to think that she left this earth and the only information that she ever totally really thought she understood was the Bible. The only literature that she ever invested in was the Bible. And so she was very narrow-minded. She invested a lot of fear in me. I believe it. Fear. I'm comfortable in saying that she invested fear in all of the children that was around her, which was my brothers and sisters. So that's where a lot of my fear started, thinking that I was not going to be saved in time. The apostolic religion was about, you got to get saved, and they didn't tell me nothing about once saved, always saved. So I thought once I watched television or did something that was outside of their doctrine, that I was not saved anymore. So I had to go back to the altar and get saved again. So I've probably been saved like 100 plus times. I don't know if that's possible, but yes, throughout the years. So that's kind of the scenario that I grew up in. Being around my grandmother, she would read the Bible to us, and they had an evangelist that would come on the radio out of Chicago, and every time she would pray, she would yell to us, and all the kids would have to run and put their hand on the radio. And it was an interesting scenario to me, because you had a radio, but you didn't have no television. Okay, a radio is just audio. The television is just going to give you the image. So audio can hypnotize you and brainwash you and mislead you as well as looking at an image. But that's probably for another program. My mother, on the other hand, who is the oldest of her siblings, she was the oldest daughter. Okay. My mother came out of that relationship very bitter. I don't ever believe I saw my mother in church. She came out of that environment that my grandmother had created, and she had a lot of regrets about it. I could tell it in the things that she did. I would say I would be comfortable in saying that I may have seen her in church once throughout my lifetime, growing up, but she didn't go to church. The story is that she got pregnant out of wedlock. And so my grandmother and them were trying to take the baby and I guess cover it up in some kind of way. You know how they do. And my mother was not having that. She was kind of a very aggressive, strong spirit. So she eventually started breaking away from her house and, from the family, from her, my mother's house, her grandmother's house, my grandmother's house, her mother's house. And so she's kind of started, getting out of that environment. And, I remember her telling stories about that environment, and she was upset at the fact that they lived below the poverty line. Okay. Now, when I came along, there was still no indoors plumbing, no indoors. Okay. So that they eliminated indoors bathrooms. They had no heat in the home. So I still remember there were being coals put in the stove. And this is when I came along. And this is when I was like about, I want to say 7 years old, 6, 7 years old. So that my understanding was an upgrade. So you can only imagine where they had come from. So my mother was very, disappointed and bitter about what they had went through. She talked about a lot of hungry days. She talked about a lot of stories where my grandmother would talk about, Jesus will provide. And instead of going out and, getting the assistance that was available, like welfare or food stamps or whatever you need to survive, she would always say, Jesus would provide. And that bothered my mother in a real way. And so by the time that my mother got of age, she was ready to go, but she always looked back on that situation and never desired to be a part of it again. And even when people did come to and heard about their plight and would come to the home to bring them food, it was always Jesus did it. Jesus worked through them. And I know, that's what Christians say, that Jesus works through people. Okay. Well, you take it, in the direction that you want to take it. But it was always, Jesus did it. So some kind of way, when you look at it like that, Jesus was still providing as far as she was concerned. But my mother wasn't feeling that. So my mother eventually left the home. And that is when she married, and my father came into the picture, and we came into the picture. So I have 6 siblings. I have an older sister that's about 3 years older than me. Then I have another sister that's about 2 years, and then I'm a twin. I'm a twin stuck in the middle. My twin's name is Jake, and we are in the middle, and then we had 2 other siblings behind us. Now, but we are the 4 that really absolutely, went through most of the trauma together. Is that 4 of us? Yeah, 4 of us really went through most of the trauma together, because my latest sister, we had like a 4 or 5 year gap, and then the other sister after that, the gap was even larger. So the trauma really laid on the 4 of us. My brother and my 2 sisters that were older. And so my mother got married, and she was married, and we came along, but she married the wrong man. You ever married the wrong man? It's just the truth. Sometimes you befriend the wrong people, you marry the wrong people, you in cahoots with the wrong people. The wrong people just happen. But all the time that I'm doing this, I still think about Jesus. I'm still thinking about Jesus. I'm still thinking about how Jesus is going to help me.
Right.
So here we go. I got to get through the rest of this and kind of cut to where I'm trying to leave it to be. But my father was the wrong man, because all my mother wanted was a family. She just wanted a family, and he was a cheater. He did everything. He was big and bad enough, but he knew how to make money legally and illegally. So he was a provider, but he was a cheater. He was a womanizer. He got two sons, and both of them's name is Junior. You know, he was a Rolling Stone, and wherever he laid his hat was his home. You know the story. So he was not only a cheater, but I was a victim of incest at his hands. So not only am I now fearing God, that I'm not going to be ready when Jesus break the sky. Now I'm living in a house with a man that I got to stay out of his reach. So I endured that from the age 9 to 15. So now I got another fear, because the fear of that is, well, you know, don't tell nobody. You know, you can't tell nobody, and you know, if you do tell somebody, it's your fault. So then you're walking around, you got all this guilt on you. So I eventually, after I progressed through that situation, that lasted from like 9 to 15, and I'm still thinking that one day Jesus is gonna save me. But I had an ability, and it's not a Christian ability. I had an ability to see things before they happened, because I had it before I thought I was a Christian, and I still got it. I could see things before they happen. And that's how I kind of kept myself out of some of those terrible situations with him, because I could see it coming. I would have a dream. I would have a vision. So when I got 18, I was gone, girl. I was gone. I joined the military. You know, life happened for me. My knowledge broadened. And then when I was journeying out of the military, and I'm bringing this to a close, so you can ask whatever question you want to ask next, but you got to understand where I'm coming from in order to understand where I'm going. So the thing is, I get out of the military, and I got these plans, and I know I can't be the Christian that they want me to be, because I'm planning on being a supermodel. I want to be in the fashion industry. So I can't be in the fashion industry if I can't wear makeup, jewelry, and pants. So that ain't gonna work out. So something got to go to the side. So I was not about to go back into the Christian religion. So through the military, I kind of put that to the side. But, you know, I figured I still had a Jesus in my heart, whatever. I guess it was like that. So as soon as I get out of the military, my mother gets murdered. We walk into a situation, a domestic violence situation between my sister and her boyfriend. He kills my mother. He shoots me 3 times, and he shoots my sister in the head. So that's what brought me back to Christianity, because that's all that I knew. And not because I felt like Christianity could save me, but that's the only place I knew to come back to get in a fold with. So I eventually wrote a book. I wrote a book. It's a memoir called The Man in the Black Suit. And I put together a tour called Where Do Eagles Rest? And I toured that around the country for a couple of years. That book is going to be available in my digital downloads on my platform. You guys will hear more about that. But I stayed in the Christian religion for 28 years. Okay. And so I had started building followers, and I had become an evangelist. I was traveling nationally and internationally. And had I not got off of that particular trajectory, you'd have heard my name by now. You'd have heard about Evangelist Janis Todd. Yes, you would have. So I decided, well, if I'm going to be preaching and teaching and doing all of these things, and they talking about making me an apostle and all that stuff, but I was starting to see things that I didn't like. So I started digging and trying to get closer to God. And the more I dug, the farther I got away. I said, this stuff don't make no damn sense now. And I'm just not going to fake it. Now, for a minute now, I thought about, now, wait a minute. I done invested 28 years in this profile. Maybe I should just keep going and just tell them what they want to hear. But my heart wouldn't let me do it. I had to change courses. For the last 9 years, I have been deconstructing and deconverting, and that's where I'm at now. That's the Janis you got today.
Oh my. Wow. What a story. What a story. There's a lot there, and I want to commend you on coming through all of the things that you have been through. First of all, that is an amazing story. So you're looking at this move away from religion as a gradual thing. You're You didn't just come up one day and say, boom, that's it. No more. You're still kind of, like you said, deconstructing. So
am I to answer that now, Edith?
If you want to, I mean, I'm just kind of trying to get my head around what an amazing story and how you have come to be the woman that you are today. Just, I've got a lot of respect. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I am definitely I'm not religious. I mean,
Right.
like I said in the beginning, I believe that there are a lot of gods. And I don't know,
Right.
maybe that's the thing that keeps me from being an atheist. I believe, even though I don't worship any of them, you know,
Okay.
none of them have power over me.
Sure.
A God, you can make anything a God, and the power
Yeah.
they have is the power that you give them. Money is a God, but you
Yep.
have to decide how much power you're gonna give that money. I'm gonna give money enough power so I can use it to get what I need to get to tell the truth. That's what I'm
There
gonna
you
use money for. So it's a lot of gods out there. A lot of people are God. Martin Luther King was a God. You know, people worshiped him. People worship LeBron. It's all type of gods. But as far as I'm concerned, gods are man-made. And
absolutely.
I'm not in no.
Yeah, it's not the other way around. I agree with you there. We create these gods to help us through these situations in life where we don't know which way to go. And you know, you brought up the point that when all that tragedy was happening in your family, you got right back on to the Christian side of things, because when you're at your lowest point, that's where a lot of religions come in to supposedly help people.
Express your vulnerabilities. I would prefer to say
Right.
it like that.
Thank you. Yes. Exploit your vulnerabilities. Absolutely. And so we're just, we're glad that you're here today. Another question I have for you. Now you'd mentioned that you've done a lot of writing. I kind of dabble in the writing as well. How can the creative writing and storytelling help people with the religious deconversion process? What has been your experience with that?
Let me speak to that little message I saw in the comment about my southern accent. Absolutely, I got a couple of things going on, and when people hear me speak, they like, "Where the hell are you from?" Like I said, I'm originally from Indianapolis, but I've spent a lot of time down south, so I got a southern twang as well. And you got to remember, I got these braces and wires and brackets in my mouth, so that's turning the accent a little bit too. But I got some southern twang going on, y'all. As far as my writing is concerned, my life was so isolating. I was isolated. I felt like that I always had to be on the watch, so I needed an outlet. So I started writing. Writing was one of my things that I would go to kind of like tell what was happening with me, or share different things that I want to share. But I like writing stories. And so I remember the first time I saw my name in print, the Indianapolis Star or the Indianapolis News was they were petitioning for people to send in stories, and if the story was good, that they would publish it. And I sent in a story to the Indianapolis Star or News. I can't remember which one it was at this point, but I sent in about a girl that was involved in, a young lady that was actually a victim of incest. And at the end of the story, she committed suicide. And they may have thought that was not a true story, but actually it was a friend of mine. So the story, and they sent me a newspaper, and the story had got published. And I saw my name in print, and I was like, woo, I can do this. I can do this. I think my name need to be in print. So when I saw my name, it's something resonated with me that my name was going to be on a lot of type of literatures. So I continued to write, throughout the years. And this is a tidbit for you within that story. I showed the article to my mother, and she read the story, but I never told her that I was a victim of incest as well. I never told my mother what I was going through until I was 15 years old. Once I told her at 16, my parents divorced. Okay. And that's a whole nother, like I said, that's a whole nother show as well. But writing was my way of escaping. It was my way of saying what I wanted to say, and nobody could tell me what I couldn't say and what I couldn't think, and all of those things. So as far as I continue to write, I've written much literature, and I won scholarships. I won so many scholarships throughout Howard University. And let me change this for you. I have a bachelor's from Shaw in sociology. I have a master's from Fayetteville State, actually. Both of them did not come from Shaw. But when I was at Shaw, I wrote so many scholarships and won so much money that they asked me to come in and actually do a workshop on scholarships of how I did it. And that's when I really realized that my writing was profitable. So with our Janis Society, there is a web serial that is embedded in that. And it is about a group of individuals, which we'll talk a little bit later on more about, that are deconverting about their deconversion process, should I say. So, because I've always liked to write stories. And my understanding of things is you have a tendency to you sometimes can do things when you see that somebody else can do them, or when you get a better understanding of the process. So writing these stories in this web serial about these 4 individuals that's coming through this religious trauma, perhaps somebody else can see that story and see themselves in it and say, I want to be like her. When you look at Michael Jordan, you said you wanted to be like him. When you looked at Oprah, you said you wanted to be like her. So maybe you can look at one of my characters in my web serial and say, I want to be like him or her, and I want to do something different now. And that's why I think that my writing can help, people through religious deconversion.
Right. Or they already may see themselves in that person. And then again, it always provides hope.
Right? Absolutely. There you go. Hope, girl. We got to give people hope.
Still hope. So you work in the media world, and you've had a lot of accolades and a lot of experience there. But generally speaking, has working in the media been challenging? How hard has it been challenging as a Black woman who is non-religious working in the media?
Well, let me see if I can answer that question, because when I was working in the media, I was not non-religious. I started working in the media when I was a Christian. I'd never had any media experience, but coming out of the military, I didn't have no fear. So whatever I couldn't do, I learned to do. I did a lot of volunteering at CBS down in Miami. I did volunteer work with Comcast Production Studios, AT&T, and American Cable. I was a volunteer. I went in to learn how to do various things. And once I learned how the media worked and how to produce shows, I was assistant producers on particular shows and things like that. So once I learned the process, I created my own vehicles. So you couldn't tell me to get off. You can't tell me what to do on my own vehicle. You couldn't throw me out. So the most of my media life wasn't when I was non-religious. It was when I was a Christian, but you still couldn't throw me out because I owned a car.
Interesting. So you were well received and you were able to manage this. I mean, we're talking, you said it was CBS and some other well-known media outlets. And I suppose they expected, this is an interesting thing, I think, that they expected that a Black woman was definitely going to be religious. I guess my question would be more like, if you were to go back in time, if you were now coming back and looking at it from this vantage point, and if you had to go back and be a volunteer as a non-religious person, what do you suppose that interaction would be like? We were just doing hypotheticals.
Okay. So, but the situation is even when I was with those medias, it wasn't from a Christian perspective. I was a Christian, but the shows that I was working on, I was working as a assistant producer for Miss Cleo show. You know, the psychic. She became very famous down in the Miami area.
Yeah.
I was one of those people working on her show. So we didn't. I mean, it wasn't about me trying to bring a Christian my Christianity to the platform. I was learning how marketing works, and I was standing in the newsroom, and I was doing things like that. And had I been non-religious, at that time, I still would have worked the same. I think it would have worked the same way, because I wasn't there to provide, to push my agenda. I was there to get an understanding of the agenda so I could build my own.
Great.
So it would have been the same. It'd been the same deal.
So,
I didn't want to skip, and nobody could throw me off of or give me a pink slip. So I had to build the shit.
I love it. Yes. And I love how you use these institutions, even though they weren't built for us. Use these institutions to create things for yourself. And that to me is very inspiring. So
Absolutely. Let me just interject here, Edith. That we need to understand that you can get information and understanding on anything you want to get information and understanding. First of all, you got YouTube University out there, which you can get information from, and you can get a degree and a PhD and all kind of stuff on YouTube University. But as well, if you would everybody wants some help. So a lot of what I learned about the media and being a producer and all of those things, a hostess, I learned by volunteering my services. So that's kind of how I broke into the media.
Okay. So, hey, Janis, we're going to now play a short video for you. It's going to be introducing the Our Janis Society to our watchers and our listeners today. So, if I think Mandisa is going to roll the clip for us whenever she's ready. Hey, that beat was slapping though. That beat slaps. For real.
Yeah, I know. I thought I was back in the day.
That is fantastic. Yeah, there's a lot there. It is yeah, that is definitely something I'm going to check into, and we were glad to bring that to our viewers today as well. So That has been, so that is kind of an introductory video to our Janis Society. And how long has that been in the making? Like, yeah, I don't
Oh
know
my
how long
gosh.
you've been working on this.
I have been working on this for 4 years.
Okay.
I did not want to let anybody come in and to build the foundation of the platform because I knew the feel that I wanted it to have. I knew the setup that I wanted it to the structure of it and all of these things. So it's been about 4 years that I've been working on the Janis platform. And the thing is while I was doing a lot of research about the Janis platform, that's when I ran into Medisa. She was on I saw one of you guys' conference, and this young lady was giving her story about, how, she was deconstructing from religion or Christianity, wherever she was coming from. And I saw Medisa. And then so I start following Medisa around the internet, and I saw her on a lot of other platforms, and, a lot of the things that she was doing. And I said to myself, while I was building the Janis Society, I said, as soon as I get this thing steady, I'm going to talk to that young lady, because I like her. She's got courage. And she, when I look at her, I look at me. I said, yeah, we got to make this thing happen. And so that's kind of how I got up with the Medisa as well. But it's been a work in progress. And I tell you what, people might start with you, but everybody ain't going to be on the ship when you get there. So you just might as well just get with that scenario and keep it going, keep it moving forward.
Right. Very good. Very good. So we got another question for you. It's so we talked about the past, and you are up and running with our Janis Society. Do you see any new ventures coming for our Janis, and how can more of us collaborate and get involved? It's kind of carry on to what we were just saying. How can we collaborate and get more involved with our Janis?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because if you didn't, I was going to coin it, so we were going to answer it anyway. Okay. But let me tell you a little bit about more about Janis. Let me tell you what really upset me. What upset me, and I'm sitting in a lot of academic platforms right now. And as soon as now Christians, they could be in the room and they could be saying hallelujah and praise the Lord and talk about God and have a blessed day and everything. But as soon as you say something contrary to that, they're offended. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm not going to sit up here and let you say what you want to say, but I can't say what I want to say. And, I just wasn't feeling that. So what I created, my vision for Janis is a platform that you can come to when I'm not trying to debate with you. I'm not trying to deconstruct you or anything like that. I'm not even trying to change your mind. Okay. You can come here if you need a friend. And first of all, there's 2 parts to the Janis platform. You can come on and you can read the web serial about my characters. We have avatar characters. There's about 4 of them that are going through a deconstruction process. We have Panya, who's an African-American girl, and she's just over it with Christianity. We have Jennifer B., who was an international recording artist. She's a white girl. She's hitting the charts like Taylor Swift, and she's doing her thing, and she's using the church. It's not that she so much believes, but that's her network. So she's singing music that the Christians can buy, and everybody else can buy. So she's staying with it so that she can use it for that purpose. And then you got Sid and Peter. Sid and Peter are a gay power couple. Now Sid is the founder of Different Faces, and he championed causes that are close to his heart. He's very outspoken, and he believed that church is a good network because you don't have to make no appointment with nobody. You just can walk up to him and start talking to him, especially if you're in one of those mega churches. And Peter, on the other hand, and plus Sid is a Wharton graduate, so his business skills are top notch. And Peter, the other character to this core, is he's a graduate of Howard University. He's a lawyer and very well noted in the community for his litigation skills and his wins. So you got all of these characters that are playing a role in this web serial that are pulling people to the website, and that's fine and dandy. And you can come on that platform. You can, you can look at the web serial and all that stuff, but you cannot come behind stage unless you're a member, because our members are vetted. You are not going to get into the Janis platform and get in there and start throwing scriptures around and committing people to hell, because that's not the Janis platform. It's a platform of peace, and where you can come and find a friend, and we can say, baby, we understand, because that shit don't make no sense to us either.
Right. That's good. That's good. Yes. And that is, I think, one of the issues that we find in social media is that you have a lot of vitriol, and you find folks that really aren't there for support. They're only there to throw shade. They're only there to make people feel bad. And that is not anything more that we need. So that sounds amazing.
We got enough of that. You can find that somewhere else. You ain't gonna find it on the Janis platform. It ain't happening. We ain't gonna let you. We're gonna vet you. We're gonna vet you anyway. So when you come into the room, everybody's been vetted.
Absolutely. Right.
If I may come in, if I may interject, because I've been on the back end listening. Thank you so much, Janis, for sharing your very powerful and amazing story, and thank you so much, Edith, for interviewing and hosting. But I tell you, when it comes to vetting, and those of you who are very familiar with Black Non-Believers know that we vet as well. And so, because this is very important work that we're doing. And for one, even though we can engage with believers in the public, when it comes to our space, if you are going to be disruptive, you are not welcome if that is what you're going to do. And when you're talking about people who are vulnerable and who are still hurting and who are still looking to heal and need support, that type of tension and dissension, we have to be very, very careful about that, and very deliberate about creating and crafting that space that is as healthy as possible for everyone. And so, and like you said, the ability to create, the ability to even have objective discourse without it leading to, people feeling like they're even more ostracized in the community that they left. So, So yes, definitely. And unfortunately, like you said, we've, people come and go. People have not been able to sufficiently be a part of a community where they can do that, because part of that is something that people have to be willing to do. Yeah. So, I really, really do, appreciate the similarities that we have, with our Janis and Black Non-Believers. And I definitely look forward to more collaboration. So one question I definitely wanted to ask was about your executive candidacy at Howard University. Before we close out the interview in the show, what has that experience been like? And also, how do you think that will help your professional career?
I am merely at Howard University in the executive MBA program because I wanted Howard to be a part of my story. Because I am a veteran, I have access to funds. And as you will note throughout my academic career, that I went to all HBCUs because I wanted those HBCUs to get my money. Okay. And so my last stop was always going to be Howard University. It's just something that I wanted to do. It's not that I needed another degree. And I don't plan on working for anybody, but it's just that I wanted the experience. Now, how has it been? Well, let me tell you what happened. I was in a discussion the other day. I'm still doing my work, because I was in a discussion the other day, and we were talking about what is hindering the Black population. And they said all kind of stuff on the platform. I opened my mic. I said, I think religion hinders the Black population. I think Christianity hinders the Black population. So that didn't change the climate a little bit, but that's okay, because where I came from, I got tough skin now. You can say what you want to. You can say what you want to, but so will I. So it's a pleasure to be at Howard University. I am building a great network, and hey, I'm good with it. We'll make it do what it do. It opens doors.
So how long until you get the final papers?
I will be graduating in May of 2025.
All
So
right.
then
All right.
when I take that walk, that will be the end to my official academic career that I had, planned for myself. But of course,
Yeah.
learning is a continuous thing. But I will be putting all of my efforts into our Janis Society, our platform, and writing books. And you know what? I need to write a textbook, because you know how much I paid for the last one, $300. So
Yes. Yes, they
I
are.
need to might put that on my agenda too.
There you go. There you go. That's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you again for being our guest today. You can subscribe to Janis' YouTube channel. That's at the Positive Network PTN 6737, the Positive TV Network's Facebook page, and visit her website at www.rjanis.com. So it's been a really great interview, and can't wait to see you backstage. And we
Absolutely.
will look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Great. Thank you, Edith. Thank you, Medisa. I really appreciate it. I waited 9 years for this, and I wouldn't want to have done it with any other group than you two. So let's make this thing do what it do.
All right. All right. That was a great interview. Thank you all for watching. And now we want to talk about some upcoming events. Today, April 20th, we're going to have an in-person discussion featuring Mandisa Thomas at 4 p.m. It's going to be a discussion about middle ground. I think it's going to be about her appearance on there. And that's going to be happening at Ponce City Market on the second floor. I will be in attendance. You can look for that information on that through the Meetup app, BlackNonbelievers events. And then on May 9th, we're going to be doing part 2 of a workshop series called Can We Talk? It's presented by BlackNonbelievers and Compassion and Choices. They're going to be talking about end of life. We will cover everything about advanced directives, and there's going to be a lot of details. That's going to be on Zoom, and that's going to be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's free to attend, but we're asking you to register. And you can find more details on that at bit.ly. Can We Talk Part 2. And then we also have the 2024 Hurston Scholarship for Black non-religious students is now open for application. So if you know a young person who does well in school and is looking to go into higher education, we would love you all to apply for this scholarship. It is awarded jointly by Black Nonbelievers and the Secular Student Alliance. Earlier this year, we did have someone from the Secular Student Alliance on the show. The deadline to apply is July 31st. So, you've got a couple months. And that more information on that is at bit.ly 3VXOL lowercase vy. And we are doing BNCCon. It's back for 2024 from November 29th through December 5th. Join us on Royal Caribbean's Independence of the Seas. I'm going to be there. Can't wait. We're going to be stopping in Labadee, Haiti and Falmouth, Jamaica. We have featured speakers including Chris Cameron, Candace Gorham, Dragnoff Mims, Christy Puckett, Teddy Reeves, and more. Prices start at just $600 per person. That's going to include your cabin fare, convention registration, and your dining options. Now, the single occupancy cabins are sold out, but there are still options. So please secure your slot today. If you go to bnccon.com, bnccon-2024, you can find all the information and sign up for the cruise. We're still seeking board members for Black Nonbelievers. So if you are enthusiastic, dedicated, and you like to have fun while working, please join us as a board member. You can find information on that at BN Board Member, bit.ly. Godless Gospel, we need tenors. This is a paid opportunity. So you can submit an audition tape to godlessgospel.org. And as always, we will keep you posted on upcoming shows. So check out We Are My Dream Etsy and purchase your favorite crochet items. We've got custom pieces available. And again, that's at etsy.com. We Are My Dream, all one word. And finally, if you're looking for a gift to give at any time of the year, pick up a copy of Name Dropping. It was created by a previous In the Cut guest and the new board member, Deanna Williams and Jesus Reyna. Name Dropping is frustratingly fun movie trivia card game. Click on the link in the chat to purchase it today. That's at namedropping.com. And that wraps up the show for today. This has been a great episode of In the Cut. We hope you enjoyed the show and that you will join us again. As a reminder, we air every first and third Saturday of each month. So please don't forget to like this video, spread the word, follow us on Facebook, Instagram. You can find us at Facebook at BNbelievers, BNonbelievers Inc. and on Twitter at BNonbelievers, the B and the N are capitalized. You can subscribe to us on YouTube at BlackNonbelievers Inc. Once again, we are getting close to being monetized, and so we thank you for all your support and tuning in. Find your local BN affiliate on Meetup. Join all of them if you like. Remember, we're looking for new organizers, so be sure to complete the volunteer form on the website. And you can learn more and make your tax-deductible donation at blacknonbelievers.org/donate. And if you want to represent BN even more, you can get some swag. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have mugs, shot glasses, and more. There's an online store. It's called blacknonbelievers.org/store-2. So with that, I want to again thank you all for joining the show today. And Mandisa, I'll see you later this afternoon. I'm coming to the thing.
You sure will.
Yes.
Yes. Thank y'all so much. And see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.